Hey everybody, welcome back to Exploring Temecula. Today's video, we are doing the pros and cons of living in Temecula in 2021. I've previously done a video similar to this, but things do change. And in this video, I just want to go over why I personally feel that Temecula, California is probably one of the best cities in all of America to live. From the housing industry to the weather, we're going to cover it all in this video. So if you are from out of state or not from Southern California, or you just don't know much about Temecula and you are thinking of moving here, watch this video. We're going to go over everything that you really need to know, that hopefully helps you in making a decision on whether or not you want to live here. Make sure you subscribe. We do a lot of video. We really try and show off this area. As I mentioned earlier on, I love Temecula and I love the surrounding area of Temecula. So our videos obviously are going to highlight everything that there is about the Temecula Valley. So let's get into the video. Okay, so I usually do a pro list and then a con list. But the first one I'm actually going to talk about could be a pro or a con, just depending on where you're living in America. And we're going to talk about the housing industry. It's no surprise really to anybody in America. The housing industry is very strong, very competitive right now. And obviously home prices anywhere in America have pretty much gone up anywhere from 10 to 50% over the last 2 years. We've really seen a spike in the housing industry in regards to prices and in the last 6 months. Ever since the first wave of the coronavirus sort of started to end, it's just been almost insane. And just to give you an example, I listed a property close to here yesterday, and it basically got bid up $30,000. So really, when I want to get into the pros and cons of the housing market, pros are, for the people that are moving from, let's say, Los Angeles, for the people that are moving from New York or bigger cities that have sold their homes and made, large profits on their sales, coming to Temecula and buying a home for $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 really isn't that big of a deal. And for what you get in regards to all the amenities, which I'll get into later in the video, you're getting a lot for that type of money. Now, if you're moving from Ohio or the Midwest and you're selling a home for $200,000, sticker shock, is going to be massive here in Temecula. On average for a 2,000 square foot home right now in Temecula, you're going to be spending anywhere from, let's call it $550 to $700. So, depending on where you're coming from and what you're used to in way of home prices in Temecula can either be a huge pro or a huge con. Sometimes I do suggest for people looking to move to Temecula from another area, maybe a rental might work for you for the first 6 months, a short-term rental, just to make sure before you're spending $500,000 on a home, whether or not you like the area, whether or not you like the weather, whether or not, this is a fit for you. But as I said, by far, in way of just the vibe here in Temecula, this is the best place I've personally ever lived. Okay, so starting off on the pro list, my first pro is safety. Obviously, because of what's gone on in the country in the last 6 or 7 months, you have heard and you see a lot of people moving out of the big cities to, the suburbs, more rural areas. And although Temecula might be, in many people's eyes, a city because it's 100,000 people, when you compare it to other places in Southern California, it's really still, a small town feel. And with the small town feel, and when you compare Temecula to other areas of Southern California or even America, safety is, obviously important on top of many people's lists. And it is very safe here in Temecula. I'm just going by my personal experience. I said this in my last video last year. I lived at the beach for 5 years, and personally, it's not like it's not safe at the beach, but the petty theft, the drug use, all of the homelessness, all of those things bring something that, I wasn't too fond of and, sort of known to be at the beach in California. Move to Temecula, it's like you can park your car on the street and not worry about it getting broken into. If you leave your bike on the porch, it's still going to be there in the morning, that sort of thing. So, in regards to safety, definitely Temecula you're going to have that feeling of safety. You can walk at nights along the streets. Old Town Old Town is basically a place where, a lot of people go out at night, definitely safe. Whereas even at the beach, walking along the beach trail at night, I probably wouldn't advise anybody to do, especially if you're a woman. But in Temecula, there's really no areas that I would stay away from. That's the one thing that I love about Temecula. And also, that's just a big difference. When you talk about Temecula compared to many other cities across Southern California, you have areas in these cities where it's nice. 3 blocks over, it's not nice and not safe. 3 blocks over, it's sort of safe. In Temecula, really, you cannot go wrong of any place or any neighborhood in Temecula and having to worry about it not being safe. Okay, so next thing I wanted to talk about, which is a pro, is the school districts, both in Temecula and Murrieta actually. And I don't have personal experience having kids in these school districts, but just from talking with past clients and friends and family, the Temecula school district is awesome. It's probably the top 20% in way of test scores and overall rating in California. So if that is important to you, if you have kids that are, of that age, I can promise you that the school districts here in Temecula, or the school district here in Temecula, is great, and you will easily find, top schools to send your kids to. Okay, so weather. Obviously, one of the things that I always think about is, people say, oh, there's a mass migration out of California. And I agree. I mean, there definitely are a lot of people moving from California. But one of the things that's always going to keep California popular is the weather. It is January right now, January 6th or 7th. Yesterday I went golfing. It was 70 degrees. I'm looking out my window right now. It's sunny. It's probably going to be 70 degrees today, and it's Friday. We're probably going to go to the winery in the afternoon. So it is so nice for me personally to wake up 330 days a year, maybe more, and have sun every single day. It's even better than the beach, because at the beach you have that June gloom, and a lot of times it's overcast, which I personally don't like. So Temecula, you are going to have the sun, you are going to have the nice weather, the cool mornings, the nice afternoons. Now, for the people that absolutely hate heat, from June, July, and August, expect to have those 100 to 110 degree days. But it's only from, let's call it 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 6, 7 o'clock at night. In regards to those days, perfect patio weather for happy hours or late night dining. Those are my favorite, that's my favorite type of weather to go out at night and have dinner, let's say at 8 o'clock, because the weather's sort of like Hawaii. I mean, you can literally go out there with a tank top, shorts, and flip-flops, and the weather is actually perfect at that time of night. So for me, I love the weather here. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else except maybe Hawaii. I think the weather there is absolutely perfect, but the weather in Temecula is absolutely awesome. Okay, so my next pro is convenience. And for those of you that aren't from Southern California, it is unbelievable what you have at your fingertips within half an hour of where you live. Now, of course, if you go during rush hour, it's going to be an hour and a half sometimes, but if you want a record, you can go, there's probably a record shop within half an hour. If you pick the most bizarre thing that you like as a human being, and there's probably something for you within an hour drive of Temecula or anywhere in Southern California. When I really noticed this, and I figured out that I was taking this convenience for granted was last year when we traveled for the whole year in multiple countries. Getting your computer fixed, finding fresh groceries or fresh produce. I mean, I might not be giving great examples, but when I look back, the trials that we had not having convenient things in all these other countries is pretty much, now I look at my life and it's so good in that aspect. I couldn't ask for anything more. And I would, guess that there are places in America, or a lot of other places in America, that the conveniences don't even come close to what we have here in Southern California. So if you liked it, if you're a foodie, if you like different climates, the beach, the mountains, all of these things, it doesn't matter what you have interest in, there is something for you in Southern California. Okay, so moving into my next pro is the actual location of Temecula. And I'm trying to give you my personal experience with this, so I might be a little long-winded, but it's sort of important. Okay, so we lived at the beach. One of the things that we really noticed when we lived at the beach is how few times we actually went to the mountains. We like going there during the winter, not necessarily skiing, but renting a cabin during Christmas season. How many times we didn't go to Palm Springs? How many times we didn't go to Las Vegas? Reason being is the beach adds an hour and a half to your drive to these places, at least an hour. Temecula is the absolute perfect location if you're the type of person that doesn't need to be at the beach, but likes to go to the beach for an afternoon, likes to go to the snow for a day or two or a weekend getaway, likes to go to San Diego for a weekend getaway, likes to go to Palm Springs, which is one of my favorite cities, within an hour. And again, all of these places that I'm talking about are within an hour of Temecula. Vegas, 3-hour drive. So, all of the airports, you've got LAX, hour and a half, John Wayne Airport, hour, Palm Springs, an hour away, San Diego, an hour away, Ontario, an hour away. So really, you've got 5 airports right in your backyard for the person that likes to travel. So, the location of Temecula is absolutely ideal, and I couldn't ask for, a better location to be close to everything that I like to do. Okay, last but not least on my pro list, just an overall quality of life of Temecula. And of course, you can talk to people that, are angry about everything and are negative about everything. And you definitely can find people in California, or Southern California that I hate the politics. It's so expensive, and they'll just go, over and over things with you that they don't like about California. But what I am saying is that if you have a positive frame of mind, you work hard, there's literally, I'm telling you, I don't know of a better place in America than this area of Southern California, and for all the reasons that I just talked about. So if you have a work ethic and you don't mind spending just a little bit more money, maybe on your mortgage or gas, those are probably the 2 biggest expenses when you compare them to other parts of the country. You're going to love your quality of life here. The outdoors, golfing, I could go on, and this video could be literally an hour long. Don't want to do that to you, but the quality of life here in Temecula, you're really not going to beat it anywhere in America. Okay, so next up, of course, we have some cons here in Temecula, and I want to be honest with everybody and up front. Temecula is a commuter town where a lot of people that work do not work in Temecula. There's teachers, if you work at the wineries, firemen, that sort of job, yes, we do have here. But there are a lot of people in Temecula that are driving to work every morning. And as everybody probably knows or guesses, you hear it all the time, traffic in Southern California during the busy times of the morning and afternoon suck. I'll flat out say it. So if you do not like being in your car and you need to travel to work or commute to work, this might not be the situation that you want to get yourself into. You know, in the mornings when you are driving from Temecula to San Diego, expect an hour and a half drive. When you're coming home, same thing. Accident, you could be on the road for 2.5 hours some days. So just be aware that that is obviously a huge con in way of getting employment, whether you're going to have to travel to that employment and how long you're going to be in your car and spend your life. You know, are you willing to spend 10 hours a week of your life in a car if that's how you have to make a living? So first con, travel and employment. Okay, so the next con from Temecula and the surrounding area, Menifee, Murrieta, I personally feel that the infrastructure doesn't support how many people are coming through here, especially on the freeways. You know, during lunch, if you go up to Menifee off the Newport exit, it's an absolute nightmare. Cars are backed up. So, you know, obviously it's a small con, but again, my personal opinion is there, especially the freeways close to here, it just hasn't grown enough for what the population or the growth of the population has been for these areas. Okay, so next up is population growth. Over the last, I think it's 20 years, maybe it's 10, but there's been 100% or 120% growth in both Temecula and Murrieta. Now, what I say to people is this could be a pro or a con depending on how you look at it. Obviously, because people want to move here and because this is becoming such a popular destination for home ownership, home prices are going to go up. So the home that you bought at 400 4 or 5 years ago is now going to be, you know, 800, you know, pretty soon. So, you know, and in regards to, you know, the population and the pro, I guess, of population growth and how much your home's going up, I truly believe that for a long-term investment, this is sort of just a side point, Temecula is going to be great. Now, for the people that are con on population growth, and there are a lot of people, I'll be honest, in Temecula that they moved here in 1980 or 1990, and it was farmland basically. And you know, the way of life in the last 20 years of Temecula has changed drastically. Even though I haven't seen firsthand, I've talked to many people, and they just can't believe how much, you know, the housing and growth, what has happened over the last 20 years. So, you know, for many people, that is a con. Now, what I can say, and I've said this in other videos too, the one thing about Temecula, there's a lot of areas that are zoned with anywhere from 1/2 an acre to 5 acre parcels. Why is this so important? Well, let's just take Duluth, or let's take Meadowview. If a property is 1 acre, you can't have a builder come in there and put 6 homes on it. So it's almost stifling to some degree the population growth because of the zoning and the large parcels of land throughout Temecula. As of right now, there is one new massive housing builder. It's called Summers Bend. So just a side note, if you are looking for a new home build, it's a beautiful area, you know, closer to the wineries, nice views. So, you know, if you want a new home build, call me and I will show you Summers Bend. Okay, next, con, cost of living. Not going to spend too much time on it because I did reference this earlier on. The two main costs that I find are the most expensive in California, and really these are the ones that either going to break you or make you: housing, and if you travel a lot, gas. Gas, you can get around, get a hybrid car, but if you're driving a big truck and you're driving 100 miles every day, you're going to spend hundreds and hundreds in gas. And when you compare it to another state, obviously it's going to be anywhere from half price or over half of what you're going to spend in other states. So two main expenses that are going to be larger in California: gas and housing. Okay, finally, pollution. Obviously air pollution, more people, you know, the worse it's going to be. So if that is important to you, if you have allergies, if you just don't want to be in that situation where there's millions of cars within a 40-mile radius, you just keep that in mind. Obviously, in the summer, different seasons have worse smog than others. But yeah, it doesn't bother me. But obviously, I have to tell people this. That's definitely a con of Southern California. Okay, everybody. Hopefully that video helped. Hopefully it wasn't too long. So those are my pros and cons for Temecula, California in 2021. Please subscribe. Please reach out if you have housing. If you have housing questions. We do a lot of business in this area. We're very good at what we do. We have you covered. We have an appraiser. We have a buyer specialist. Anything that you need, we have for you. We understand the market. We understand that right now we need to be aggressive, and I'm not going to waste your time or my time. I'm going to be upfront and tell you exactly what you need to do to be successful in this market. So give us a call, subscribe, and as always, remember there's a home search in the description on this video. In every one of our videos, you can go and look at your own leisure to see what home prices are in this area. So thank you very much, and from Exploring Temecula, I'll see you next time.